Before we get to you, Tyler, real fast, I want to present to Chris something that I found. It was hinted to me. I started doing some digging. There has never, that I am aware of, that I could find, been a senior transfer quarterback win a national championship in college football. Joe Burrow had 2 years in LSU before he won his. So that, because I immediately went, well, what about Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow transferred out, even though he graduated from Ohio State, he had 2 years of eligibility. So he got to play 2 years. Earlier, Justin Fields was mentioned. Pretty good transfer quarterback. Yeah. He was only a sophomore, right? I think it might have been even a redshirt freshman, but he was a sophomore at least, right? Academically. So he had 2 years at Ohio State as well. The only one that I kind of thought about was the quarterback there at Philadelphia who left Alabama and went to Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts. But he didn't win a national championship.
No.
He did well, but he didn't win the Natty.
Yeah.
So, and ZZM actually brings up something I was about to say. Joe Burrow, when you compare Joe Burrow the first year at LSU to Dwayne Haskins, no one in their right mind would say, yeah, give me Joe Burrow over Dwayne Haskins that first year. Nobody. Statistically, play on the field, Dwayne Haskins outplayed Joe Burrow that first season.
Mm-hmm.
The second year was when Joe Burrow had his amazing Heisman campaign national championship run. And right off the bat, we got a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Larry Daniels. Thank you, Larry Daniels. That actually helps the show out. It costs Chris and I about $15 to do a show, a call-in show, is what it costs for the line and the phone and everything. Little over $15. That goes a long way in helping us continue to keep the phone lines open. Larry Daniels says it all new with portal and NIL for senior QB. So he's saying we're gonna set a new standard this year, right? So that's what you're tasked with, Chris, is to be like Larry Daniels and be like Donald here and say Will Howard will be the first. Can you convince me of that tonight?
I think that never in the history of the transfer portal have we seen a quarterback come into a team that is so stacked. You look at Joe Burrow's first year, what was he surrounded by? Was it exactly the same guys who were there the next year? Was it a team of returning seniors, which we have a lot of? Was it a team of 5-star guys that we have a lot of? I mean, we've got more 5-stars in that receiving room alone than most teams have on their roster. I think when you talk about Ohio State, you're talking about a different scenario. You look at what we have in place, and am I going to say that Will Howard's going to be the reason we win a national title? No. But do I think that we have the ability to get there and win one with Will Howard? Absolutely. We have, and somebody tell me that I'm wrong. As much criticism as I've given Ryan Day, I think we have the best and most innovative coaching staff in the country right now on the offensive side of the ball. We have the best coaching staff, scheme-wise, knowledge-wise, recruiting-wise on the defensive side of the ball in the country. We have an amazing returning defense, which is going to make it much, much easier for Ohio State to go further. And Eric, we actually, I believe, have an offensive line that's showing improvement. Yes, they're still improving, but I think From what we saw at the spring game, we are seeing an improving offensive line. This is a stacked team. There's a reason that we've got Denzel Burke coming out saying Natty or bust. I don't want to say I don't think it matters who's at quarterback, but Eric, I don't know that it matters that much who's at quarterback. As long as they can be serviceable and not lose games, I think this is a national championship team. They just have to go out there, make smart decisions, play within their game, not try to do too much, and take care of the football. And this team is going to win a national title. And if they don't, massive changes need to be made in Columbus. It's that simple, given what they have. I think that Will Howard will be the first quarterback to break through that ceiling. Um, but, you know, I just can't see any way that they don't win the national title this year.
Everything you gave me was about everything but the quarterback,
That's
which
because I'm
I
saying
agree
I
with.
don't know that it matters that much who the quarterback is on this team. You can't have somebody who can't play out there at quarterback, obviously. You need to have somebody who is smart, somebody who takes care of the ball, someone with enough stones to go out there and run the ball if he has to.
Oh, he's got that.
He's got that in spades. Uh, and somebody who can just, and I'm going to quote Ryan Day here, someone who can do the routine things routinely.
Okay, I was about to say that. What scares me, what I don't know about with Will is the consistency. It was brought up in the chat, the Texas game. Yes, there were times Will Howard, and maybe I need to go back and watch the video with Cocaine Willie to talk me off the ledge here a little bit, because at that moment I was feeling really good about Will Howard, but this stat that I heard, it shook me a little bit because I
Eric,
thought
it's just simple. Nobody's ever done it until somebody does it.
this is true. Do you feel, because I feel like, Chris, I made a good point, and I was playing devil's advocate there. You probably picked up on that.
Mhm.
That Will Howard leaving K State and us kind of welcoming him in, adopting him into the Buckeye Brotherhood, the family, and immediately crowning him as he's going to be the one to win the national championship, whatever. But in the same token, if we flip the script and Will Howard had led us to a Big Ten championship and then he left and went to Kansas State, would we be as quick to compliment him on his gamesmanship, his will to win, his desire, who he is as a leader, as we are now, because the
No,
tides are
because we're human. There's an emotional factor that plays into it. So no, we absolutely would. We've talked about this before, Eric. Just because we might smile, we might give the half-hearted good luck, we hope you do well at your next school. But the fact is, it's human nature. You're going to be offended, you're going to be hurt, you're going to get angry.
yeah. That's why I don't say, hey, go be great. Like, I mean,
I'm going to say it. Good luck to Dallin Hayden because my God, playing for an egomaniac like Coach Prime and his even more psychotic children, you're going to have your hands full, my friend. I
that's
think that's
crazy
going to
stuff.
be a mistake.
That's crazy stuff
You,
going
you
on over
know,
there in Boulder.
but to these other guys, I am going to say, good luck. Even to Julian Fleming, who went home to Penn State.
You're gonna,
I hope he has. I do hope he has a decent season. I hope we run him into the ground, but I hope he has a decent season.
here's what I
I'd like
hate
to see
about
him
that.
get. I'd like to have him see him get a good draft pick out of it.
Okay, hold on a second. Because I think we can answer this one, Chris. Will Ho- Will Howard was told to leave KSU. He was told he was not going to start because they wanted to start the younger QB this year. Yes and no.
Yes and
It
no.
If you go to our YouTube channel, Donald and Karen, we did a video with a K State podcast called Cocaine Willie. We explained in the first 5 minutes why that name's crazy
Yeah.
like that. It's an entire like 45, 50-minute podcast with them
About
answering
Will
that
Howard. Yeah.
answering that question right there. And they do a great job of saying yes and no to that. That he was kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And although there was definitely a feeling amongst the fan base that it was time for Will Howard to move on so that they could have the younger quarterback take his place, if they didn't want to see Will Howard stuck in that position where he's better, but at the same time, as soon as one mistake happens, there he goes.
Yeah.
So um, it was tough. It was tough place for him to be in, and I understand that. And I'm getting. I'm playing kind of a devil's advocate here with this topic, but go watch that video. I think you're really going to enjoy that. Now let's talk Julian Fleming.
Yeah.
You and I both know, Chris, that Julian Fleming in his first 4 or 5 games has about 6 touchdowns, 700
And then he
yards.
fades.
Well, hold on. On Twitter, the Ohio State fan base is going to start blaming Ryan Day and Brian Hartline for
Who are we
letting
going to
him
take off the
go.
field? Who are we going to take off the field to put him on the field?
I know. I'm just telling you straight up. That's why I don't do the whole go be great rooting for you thing. I don't have that way when he is great, I can say, well, sucks. Wish we still had him, but I'm not sitting here doing what they're doing, some of those in fan base, and trying to blame Ryan Day for it. And at the same time, if he goes and falls flat on his face, I don't have to feel bad for it either. I'm not. Here's the thing, okay? I'm a fan of the name on the front of the jersey
Absolutely.
more than the name on the back of the jersey.
I don't disagree.
Those
I'm just,
names change
yes,
every 3 to 4 years. And with the transfer portal, they're changing quicker than
every
that.
3 to 4 days, you know?
The name on the front of the jersey never changes.
Right.
That's why I don't have the emotion with it. Maybe I'm saving my emotions. I'm protecting my emotions. I don't want to see. I don't want to see our good players go. We're part of the college huddle, Chris,
Yeah.
which means there's a lot of G5 schools that we partner with.
Yes.
Go ask them what they think about the transfer portal.
Oh, they hate it.
Their best players, they have a player who has an all conference season. He's as good as gone.
Yeah.
He's going to go to a Power 5 school.
Well,
Never
and
fails.
even schools that are in the Power Five, that next tier down.
Yeah.
You think a guy goes out has a tremendous season at Cincinnati? Ryan Day might not want to reach out if he decides to enter the portal. You think a guy from just look, guys from Florida Atlantic, get the chance to go and play at Alabama. Guys from Vanderbilt get a chance to go and play at that team up north. You think they're not going to jump at that? It's common sense.
If you're going to Vanderbilt, though, you're going for education. Let's just be
But
honest.
Eric, they are a academic institution. That's what the fans always like to tell us.
Right there. Perfect example. That's a perfect example.
Yes.
Jamison Williams. He was buried on the depth chart.
Yeah.
He was going to be number 4 receiver at Ohio State.
Yeah.
He was battling to be the 3rd receiver and probably was not going to win it over Jackson Smith the Jigba.
Right.
So he goes to Alabama and is
Ends
a
up being a
star.
first round draft pick.
There were literally fans on Twitter who were blaming Ryan Day and Brian Hartline for that.
But who were you going to bench? Were you going to bench Smith and Jigba, the guy who ended up having arguably one of the greatest seasons ever in Ohio State history?
No, of course not.
Who are we going to pull down? One of the 2 first round draft picks in Olave and Garrett Wilson? We gonna sit them so he can play? Guys, sometimes this is just something that happens when you have an overabundance of talent.
So what I'm getting at is this: I can't stand it, the double standard that happens, right? So player leaves, fan angry. Player B comes in, fan happy. like, like you, it's a two-way road here.
Well, for me, I'd be the first to tell you. If I was a K State fan, I would be miserable. I would be so angry and I'm screaming. But as an Ohio State fan, I love the fact that we got Will Howard.
And
You
you
know,
and I both know if we win the national championship this year, we're gonna think it was great. And Will Howard's a Buckeye, and when he gets drafted in the NFL, and it's gonna be the Joe Burrow effect.
yes.
He graduated from Kansas State. He played 4 years there, you know.
But what do I always say?
But when he
When the
goes,
argument comes up as Joe Burrow a Buckeye, yeah, he's a Buckeye. He graduated from Ohio State. He played football at LSU. Same thing can be said about Will Howard if he comes in and wins the national title.
but he played more football at Kansas State than Ohio
No,
State.
that's what I'm saying. He went to Kansas State, but he played football for Ohio State.
All right, so in closing, because I don't think we have gotten another phone call yet. We'll give it a couple more minutes. See if someone else calls in and wants to chat. If not, I'm going to wrap it up with this. Here's where this all comes from. Over in Notre Dame land, they were having a conniption about Hartman. Did you notice Hartman didn't get drafted?
I didn't see anything that would have made me want to draft him.
Listen to this. If Hartman would have stayed at Wake Forest and went 7-5, 6-6,
He's
but
probably
had
he's
but
probably a,
had amazing numbers.
he's probably a third or fourth round pick at worst.
Bingo. Bingo.
It's as simple. You can't play on the grandest stage and fall on your face and think that you're going to get drafted highly in the NFL draft. You just can't. The only exception is, for some reason, this false narrative that Caleb Williams is the second coming,
Oh gosh, I can't. That's a completely another show.
or the idea that a guy who doesn't throw a pass in the second half of numerous games in a year is worthy of a number 9 draft pick.
He
It's
does.
just stupid.
He does have nice hair. You're right, Coconut. Here's the deal with that, though, Chris. Here's the deal. So they're having a debate in Notre Dame land because they went back to the senior 1 year transfer senior well again with
Yeah,
the Duke quarterback. And they're having the debate: what is better, going in the portal and getting a quarterback who's got some experience to lead your team, or developing that guy? I think if we ask Ryan Day the exact same question, I think Ryan Day to a man would
develop.
say it's development.
Sure,
I
it
want
is.
to develop my guy. Which leads me to this question: does Devin Brown have a legitimate shot to win the starting job at Ohio State this fall if Ryan Day thinks Will Howard, Devin Brown, I think they're about the same.
Absolutely. If he thinks that they are at the exact same level, I think Devin Brown has a chance. He is Ryan Day's guy. Will Howard was brought in because Ryan Day wasn't sure that his guy was the guy. And I think the doubt creeped in there specifically after last season. And I'm not talking about what happened so much with Devin Brown in the bowl games or the injuries. I'm talking about what happened with the Yugo, not the Honda, the Yugo McCord.
The no go,
I think that
the no go
the
McCord.
no go, exactly. I think that McCord has left Ryan Day questioning somewhat what he had in that quarterback room. That's why he reached out. Now, should Devin Brown, who I also think has the ability to lead, I think he's got the confidence. I think he's got the athleticism, much like he's not as big a guy as Will Howard, but he's got the athleticism. Uh, I think that either of these guys, if they're even up, could be viable. I just don't know that, you know, I think he likes the experience of Will Howard. That I think is what is giving him the advantage. I sure hope not, by the way, Jeremiah. That's the stupidest number for a quarterback.
I like it.
But no,
All
I
right.
think he's got a chance, though. I do think he has a chance.
All right. So I wanted to come full circle and bring this to you, Chris. Does Will Howard, knowing the statistic I talked about that no senior transfers ever won a national championship, weigh any part at all in the thinking of choosing a starting quarterback? Should it? Should it
No,
even?
no. I think that
Are
if
you sure?
anything,
Because
yes,
because Ryan Day now has gotten 2 full years to develop Devin Brown. Hear me out.
I'm listening.
And a failure to develop Devin Brown
Means
and
he's
make him a
busted on two in
winner
a row.
means two times in a row he has recruited and then failed to develop the starting quarterback, which is the most important position in college football to do exactly that.
That is why I think that the two freshmen right now are such
Julian Sane,
an Air
Aaron
Nolan
Nolan.
are such a coveted commodity by Ryan Day. I think that if it looks like Will Howard is the better quarterback, I think obviously he's still going to groom Devin Brown because Devin Brown's going to be the number two. But I honestly also think that come next season, his emphasis is going to be on those freshmen. So, I, for me, I don't think it's going to weigh in because I think A, he likes the experience, but B, I think you're going to see if this if Day is aware of this statistic, if Howard is aware of this statistic, Will Howard's the kind of guy that if he sees a statistic, I think it's going to put a fire in his belly and make him want to do it that much more
God, I hope so.
because he is that competitor that McCord was not.
All right. We'll see who in the national media will pick up the story and run with it.
Wouldn't be the first time they had all of our best ideas, Eric.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. But all of you in the chat, you'll know where you heard it first. You'll know where you heard it first, right here on the OHIO podcast, man. Hey.